The Indian government recently introduced 4 new labour codes, replacing 29 older labour laws, bringing major changes in areas such as employee benefits, working conditions, hiring models, and enforcement mechanisms. But this sweeping move by the government seems to have raised some concerns among the trade unions and farmer bodies. But why? Let's take a look. 5 years after the Parliament passed 4 labour codes replacing 29 labour laws, the Centre on Friday announced the nationwide implementation, calling the move a historic step to ensure dignity for every worker. Now, if you'd like to know more about what these new labour codes are, pause this video right here and go check out our previous explainer video and join us back. Well, here is the link. The reforms, which came into force on November 21st, merged 29 existing labour laws into 4 comprehensive codes to simplify labour regulation and improve workplace governance. The 4 codes include the Code on Wages 2019, the Code on Social Security 2020, the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition Code 2020, and the Industrial Relations Code 2020. These replace older workplace laws such as Minimum Wages Act, the Payments of Wages Act, the Factories Act, and the Industrial Disputes Act, among others. Now, these labour codes have clearly been implemented to benefit the daily worker. But why do we see rising concerns and protests against these codes by trade and labour unions? To give us more insights, we have with us Purnima Joshi, Resident Editor, Business Line, New Delhi.
There's unrest in the trade unions, particularly because these 4 codes, they were passed by Parliament in 2020, and they've been notified 4 years later. But either before the passage of the bills or the drafting of the bills, trade unions complained that they have not been, the stakeholders have not been consulted in any of the major provisions of the bills, and they've been passed without wide-ranging consultations, which was necessary for this kind of seminal reform. So that's one part of the story. The other is that they bring in a lot of changes in the way labor disputes, labor welfare, and the general conduct of the Labour Department is governed, and without and these changes, they believe, are not in the interest of the workers. So that is why the trade unions have been protesting, and the industry by and large has been okay with it. But I don't think there is any structured discussion on the codes, or even the industry or the labor lawyers or the professionals who are manning it or the employees have had a full understanding of the codes. So that is where we are at. The unions who've studied the law believe that it is not these are not in favor of the workers. So that is why the agitation has been going on. And besides this, there are specifics in the law that are bothering the unions and the workers alike. There is the Industrial Relations Code, which replaces the Industrial Disputes Act. It's the backbone of labor jurisprudence in the country and tackling labor disputes. So what it does is to raise the threshold of establishments from 100 to 300 workers in order to take prior government permission for closure of the units, retrenchment, or layoffs. So earlier, if you had a unit of 100 workers and you needed to close it down, or you needed to lay off the workers, or you needed to retrench certain workers, you needed to take prior permission of the government. Now, that whole threshold has been increased to 300 workers, which is believed to leave out at least, I mean, there are varying estimates, but at least 70 or 80% of the establishments out of the purview of the courts. Although the government believes that that is not strictly the case, but that is how it is being interpreted by the unions. That's one of the major causes. The other is the other major changes with regard to, for instance, the government has now recognized what is called the fixed term employment, which means that an employee can be hired for certain specific period of time and then retrenched. And so the unions believe that is a term which is legalizing sort of impermanence. Like you can hire someone for one year and then fire them. So it's kind of facilitating hire and fire rules. So one, it is leaving out a lot of establishments from the purview of the courts. B, it is facilitating hire and fire. C, even in the case of employers, like their liabilities have been increased in terms of gratuity payouts, or things like reskilling of the workforce has been sort of mandated. So industries have to shell out money for reskilling of the workers. Now that's another payout that has been instituted or mandated by the courts. Now for all of this, if the tripartite consultations with the industry and the unions have not been done for the last 10 years, which is what the unions are claiming, that's a big step to have taken without informing informing the stakeholders. The other thing is that the government is now saying that we have included the changing, evolving economy and stakeholders like gig workers and platform owners into the purview of the labor codes, and we are sort of formalizing the workforce. But the government says that we are giving social security benefits to gig workers. Now that's a very big claim, and but the fact is, how are these social security benefits going to be disbursed? For instance, unless you register all the workers, gig workers, which a conservative estimate is that you have about over 1 crore gig workers in the country. Last counted workers who were registered with the e-Shram portal, through which the government was going to disburse these benefits, was only about 3 lakhs. We met the Labour Secretary yesterday, who claims that this registration has increased to 25 lakhs. That's still leaving out about 75 lakh workers outside the purview of registration. So how are these benefits going to actually reach the workers? And then they're saying that, we have established a floor wage. How are you going to establish a universal wage when and how is it going to tally with the different minimum wage limits that have been set in different states? So these are all very crucial questions that have not really been answered before sort of rolling out these codes. So there's a lot of flux right now in terms of A, understanding of the codes, B, how are they going to be rolled out, because the rules that are going to implement these codes have not yet been notified again. I mean, they had held consultations 4 years back, and now they're going to hold these consultations again. So it's going to take another 3 months before those consultations are held and rules are framed on the basis of which the laws can be then implemented. So there's a lot of confusion about this. There's a lot of anxiety about this. And even though the industry is hailing it as a very big and progressive step towards formalization of the workforce and so on, I don't think even they comprehend the full scale of the impact of these courts. So that is in a nutshell why there is anxiety and movement on the road uh, against the courts.
Well, what about farmer bodies? What are their grievances?
A big worry on the part of the establishment, also the industry, is the participation of the farm unions with the workers' unions in this. Because a lot of the organizers are ideologically aligned with the trade unions in this. Although the farm unions don't have a direct stake in the issue, as it were, because the labor codes don't really concern the farmers. But they have ideological affinity and they have political affinity with these workers, which is why they have joined cause with the workers. But if the concern is that it's going to lead to a situation like the farm laws agitation, that concern, I think, is a bit misplaced, because unlike the farmers who have staying capacity and they can harvest their crop or finish the sowing season and come here and sit here for months, and they can extend an agitation, workers, I believe, do not have that capacity. They're not going to be able to sustain a movement which will last for a year or so and sit there. So even though the farmers are supporting them, I don't think we will see the kind of agitation that we saw during the farm laws passage.
Thank you all for tuning in. For more such interesting stories, subscribe to the Hindu Business Line.